Not many artists can continue to evolve and surprise their faithful audience without disrupting the reasons why so many of them had fallen in love in the first place. But Childish Gambino is one of the few that can do so in a way that is genuinely interesting, fun, and just as creative as what made him rise to fame in the first place. Bando Stone in the New World is the body of work in question, and it looks like it will be the very last that we will ever get from Gambino, who stated that the time for his musical persona is coming to an end, but that he will do so on what hopefully is looking like to be one final giant spectacle of a world tour. But even as a huge fan of Gambino, this new album was initially a huge shock to me, and compared to his previous releases like Because the Internet and Camp, I was a little bit disappointed by what I was hearing. Bando Stone didn't sound like his old self, like something that featured clever rhyming sequences, witty wordplay, or hard-hitting rap bars. It also didn't even sound the same, like it was missing that R&B soundscape or that gangster, slick-sounding pop-based melodies that I've come to know from him. It was, for lack of a better word, strangely different. And the fact that this was going to be an original soundtrack album to an original motion picture starring him also made the whole thing feel even weirder. Was this really going to be his last album? An original soundtrack to a movie? Couldn't there be something more dedicated or focused on just being a musical ensemble instead of something that felt like a supporting act to the main show? But after some discussions with a good friend and through repeated listens, I've become convinced that this album does actually have something special to it, and that it does actually sound remarkably different in a good way. Yes, there's a lot of new stuff within it, but it's like almost everything from the past Gambino has been evolved in a really mature, fresh, and genuinely creative way. While sometimes becoming more famous and mainstream can hurt your art, if done correctly, it opens up new avenues to more creative opportunities that weren't there previously. And this is where I believe Gambino has excelled at with his final album. So for those still stuck on the fence about him and whether he's still just as good as he once was, allow me to take you through 5 must-listen to tracks listed in ascending order that showcase some surprising new musical melodies, but which are still genuinely just as enjoyable as what you've heard in the past. Starting with the first track called In the Night. After being a little bit disappointed with the first single release of Lithonia, I was genuinely glad to hear the next release with this song In the Night. To me, this has such a beautiful use of synth beats that bounce around with each other, and that to me is more reminiscent of what I've come to expect from Childish Gambino from previous songs like 3005 or Summertime Magic. So when I heard this song for the first time, I was immediately drawn into it. It's got this soothing, calming effect to it, but one that is also still incredibly rhythmic throughout. In some ways, it reminds me of that song On My Mind by Georgia Smith because of those trance-like vocals, and when I saw that she was featuring on this song, I was again happy to see that Gambino was collaborating with another uniquely talented artist, which is just testament to how his success has grown to the point where it affords him the opportunity to meet other wonderfully successful artists like Georgia Smith. Her voice works so well against his, and it's sort of like this perfect marriage of two artists from two different backgrounds, but which share that same talent for creating these rhythmic harmonies throughout this unique electronic soundscape. Out of all the songs on this list, this is definitely the most accessible, easygoing for listening, and will likely be the one most fans of his previous work can gravitate towards.
that's my brother, don't you know it? I stuck around like Yoshinoya, Stone Mountain Reed and the Cass Sequoia. This my life, I must enjoy it. This my life, they bustin' for it. We don't hold back, we must move forward. Stay where you at, you're supposed to, boy. Niggas is fake, I won't ignore it.
Coming to the next track, we get the song called Yoshinoya, which to me has one of the more catchier opening lyrics and rhyming choruses with "That's my brother, don't you know it? I stuck around like Yoshinoya." This by itself is such a good hook to lure you in, and that becomes the rhyming sequence for you to follow and nod along to the song with. But if you also listen closer, you can hear a lot more musical elements happening in the background, and if you dig deeper, you can begin to appreciate this song at even more levels. There are sounds of what feel like a maraca or something that's producing that shaking shh sound, while you also get this voice in the background that's been broken up and crying out loud, or feels like a weird ayo echo. That sort of reminds me of the introduction, which is also great in itself because it shows how Gambino can use a voice sample, chop it up, and produce something that sounds somewhat strange yet also musically complementary. It feels a bit dark and somewhat trancy, but is also kind of upbeat and just goes hard. But this is where the song switches it up at the halfway point and adds to this heaviness hard rap feeling by going into this drum breakdown with this repetitive voiceover that plays again and again of a sample that sounds like it's saying, "Got the music boom boom boom, got the music boom boom boom." Gambino uses this drum breakdown to take over with his voice by going into a similarly full-on rap breakdown. It reminds me of times where he would just go into a whole rap that destroys everything and everyone, sort of the same with his other songs like Bonfire or Freaks and Geeks. It's definitely a twist up that switches up things dramatically compared to the first half of the song, and it does feel less musically catchy or melodic, but damn, I've grown to enjoy the song overall. And at the very least, it's still a showcase performance to let people know that he's still got it as a rapper and that he hasn't forgotten where he's come from.
Rather die a good man with a bad wife. These niggas almost 50 and they dressing like a hype beast. Used to get the peach milkshake and add the 8-piece. White boy throwing dirt on my name for the think piece. Checks off, death, murder, and pain leave you empty. I curse you with that knowledge. Put their hands on a woman for the clout, but said I'm wildin'. Death before dishonor on my mom like Kiki Palmer. I'm allergic to the drama. You saw me and Tyler. I'm allergic to this rap shit. Made a song but spent more time writing the caption. I'm an actor, you can put that on set. I'm about that action. My tweets all lowercase, I saw these niggas capping. My homegirl said you a stalker, so we ain't dapping. I ain't see you, man, what happened? Man, the blog era overtaking all our stars. My favorite spot was about to close, so I made some calls. Bitch nigga eat a dick and doggy bag the balls.
Summer's always coming. All I wanna do is survive. But the weather's always changing. I'm just trying to save my life. My life. My life. My life.
It's a new
Coming to my third favorite song, we go back to the beginnings of the album, the track called Survive. Like Yoshinoya and In the Night, there's that familiar use of synth-like sounds, but here it feels so much more elated and uplifting. There are notes that feel brighter in nature and more energetic, and I feel like it also matches the overall tone and message of the song, which to me seems to be about looking forward to the summer and wanting to enjoy the time there. It might not necessarily be your conventional summer song, but it does feel like a futuristic one in some weird way. It also moves quite quickly with the notes shifting between the 3 or 4 notes at fast pace, matching that same intensity with the drum beat line that's used. It's like a booming speaker that is blasting these bassline beats. My favorite part is the surrounding elements of softer high notes that are used sprinkled throughout the chorus. They feel like shimmering sounds that surround the sonic environment, and it's like you can picture yourself in the concert seeing all these stars descending down upon you as you hear these beautiful spriteful notes falling down all over you. This also combines my favorite verses from Gambino going into a description of him watching the TV show Bluey with his son and of girls not being able to get any thicker. This also isn't to discredit the conclusion with this awesome saxophone solo that sings out, and that to me is the perfect way to end such an uplifting and bright song filled with so many glossy nice notes. A seriously great track that has elements of good rap to it, but to me is more than just another rap song, but rather a combination of all these other energetic elements being pulled together to produce something special.
Yeah. Feel like life go a lot quicker. How we lame, but he that. They in the minor leagues, but
The next track is called Cruisin, and this was the second track I fell in love with after the single In the Night was released. Hearing this song initially puts me into this feeling of being in a jungle with these weird animal-like noises and a creepy cricket or a frog-like sound being put on repeat. But by the time the beat actually hits you, you're then lifted up into this soaring soundscape of Gambino's vocals and this poppy synth. I'm a big fan of auto-tune when done correctly, and here it's done so well. I specifically like the way auto-tune can change someone's voice in a truly uniquely musical and melodic way, like when a voice becomes a synth as opposed to something where it's just a generic T-Pain pop auto-tune. And here in this song, I think Gambino's voice just sounds incredible with however way he's tuned his vocals to it. It sounds even better when he comes in with his own backing vocals and just complement his rapping, because it's just him and this synth voice that's carrying the whole verse tremendously. When the chorus does finally come in and you begin to hear the sounds of other synths and harmonizing vocals, it's just such a beautiful array of melodies combining into this uplifting crescendo. Yes, the song is a little bit slower in the first half, but when this part does come in and that drum line does kick in, it's just a joy to listen to. We also again get another little rap breakdown from a feature with the artist Yeet, and to me it's kind of an interlude of them taking you through this darker part of the jungle, which kind of works well with the overall feeling from this song. But even if you find this part too strange, the chorus that soon comes after, in my eyes, is still one of the best sections of this song. This is a track that is led more so by the use of auto-tuned vocals that are supported by the synth melodies underneath, and it isn't so much about any interesting rap lyrics or clever rhymes, but damn, it's all about these vocals that sound amazing to hear. This song also ends on an interesting fashion as well, with this almost choir-like orchestra coming in with high-string violins or something like it, which at this point I guess is just adding another surprising feature that goes to show how much Gambino's artistry has come a long way throughout the evolution of his discography. And finally, coming to my number one favorite song from this album, we get the track called Got To Be. Now I have to admit, upon hearing this song for the first time, I was nowhere near in love with it, because initially, the sound of that main riff was just way too abrasive for me. It was like a barrage of noise being hurled at me. This was also coming from someone who enjoyed that original sample that it was taken from with the song Breathe by The Prodigy. I love that song Breathe, and when I heard it here on Got To Be, at first I thought it just sounded way too grungy, too muddy, and almost basically ruined the original sample. But a good friend of mine was in love with it, and I decided to give it another shot. And man, oh man, with repeated listens, this has easily become my biggest surprise and my biggest love from the whole album. I'm not sure if it was the repeated listens that did it, but now when I hear that main riff, it just sounds perfectly chaotic to me. Yes, I can still sort of hear that same abrasiveness at once, but maybe now I'm just used to it, and I can really begin to appreciate how genuinely well it's done as a sample. It's been slightly adjusted, chopped and changed to be more upbeat, and in my opinion, the way it's been done so makes this song an absolute banger. It's one of the best songs I've heard for getting pumped up to, no matter what context or situation you're in. You can hear both the original song by The Prodigy or this track Got To Be and begin to appreciate them both for their own individual characteristics. I've also found that hearing it on headphones as opposed to on speakers is also a completely different listening experience, and in some ways is actually way less abrasive. So perhaps some of that harshness that I once heard initially could have been from the song's presentation and how I was hearing it at first listen. Apart from the main riff, I also really enjoy the opening and the ending, both for how catchy they sound, but also the difference in them compared to the other tracks. It starts off with Gambino introducing you with a wonderfully catchy hook, but the ending is something more like a Euro DJ because it sounds like something from the artist Scooter. I still can't believe overall how much I've grown to love this song, but damn, if there was ever a song that I implore to anyone listening to this album and who are still feeling turned off by it, then this has to be the one song that you have to give another shot to, but please give it a chance by hearing it at least 3 times, and please do so via headphones. Some of the unique changes Gambino does with the vocals and then with the sample fused in with all these background synth elements is just insane. I think perfectly chaotic is the best way to describe this song, and if like myself you've given it more than one shot, then I'm sure you'll find yourself headbanging to this just absolute, genuine, bona fide banger.
Can't stop, won't stop. Bottom line, smoking that on summertime lockdown, 2020 my time. It got to be. Just one girl's a lot for me. Finding out for me. If the world's going down, only I can see. Only I can see. Bad girl wanna fake hot guy. Fake man wanna play both sides. Bad tape looking like hot fries. 12-piece giving that Popeyes. Hella man die like right now. Dope boy gonna get rapping. Hella like good like right now. It got to be.
And that's it. While it's extremely bittersweet to hear this album as the conclusion and curtain call to Childish Gambino's incredible career, it is by no means a body of work that fizzles out and that leaves a bitter taste in any fan's mouth. This is an album that ends his discography on a high note and on a bang with banger showcases from a tremendous array of songs that are sure to give you pause to think on judging them too harshly in 1 minute and then banging your head in the next. It is a culmination of this man's evolution throughout his music and of everything that he has learnt along the way, and for what it's worth, I'm just glad we got to hear it, and suddenly I'm excited to see what will happen when we do get that movie. But for now, and from one faithful fan who has listened to his work since the days of camp and has continued to fall in love with his music, I just wanted to say thank you for this one final send-off and for this one final dance. You are the true mastermind, and I wish your click had never been cancelled. Thank you, Childish Gambino.